Peter saw something moving in the distance. He knew he needed to be careful. There had been reports of predators in the area. Peter moved closer to see if it was the bear he was looking for. Then, something else caught his attention. He saw the black bear, but the bear was carrying a baby. Peter turned pale. He had never seen this before in his life. He had to ensure the baby was fine. However, there was one huge problem. The bear refused to let the baby go. Peter had no idea what the bear was doing with the baby. Peter slowly approached the bear from behind. The bear had just put down the baby on the ground. This could be his chance to get the baby to safety. The bear turned around. At first, Peter thought the bear did not notice him, but then he saw the demeanor of the bear change. Peter had an intense stare-down with the bear. From his experience as a ranger, he knew he should not make sudden moves. The bear grabbed the baby. Instead of lunging toward Peter, he quickly ran away. Peter tried to see where it was going, but it was too fast. He had to quickly inform his fellow rangers to prepare a rescue party for the baby. His fellow rangers did not believe Peter at all. Peter was desperate for help, but did not seem to give it up. He insisted that he had seen the bear with a baby. Peter decided he would take matters into his own hands. He had to call the police. Peter had called the police. His fellow rangers all told him to let it go. They all thought Peter was going crazy, seeing things. Peter refused to listen. He had told the police what was going on. They immediately came with every available officer in the area. The first officers on the scene arrived within minutes. They took Peter's call very seriously. Then, Peter's boss told the police officers to come inside his office. When they came out, they ignored Peter and went straight into the forest. More police officers quickly arrived. They told Peter to stay put. They seemed pretty angry. Peter had no idea what was going on. What had his boss told these officers? The officers came back within a few minutes. Peter was surprised. They surely did not search the entire forest within minutes. Something else must have been going on here. Peter was questioned about the bear he had supposedly seen. They also asked him about the baby. Peter knew what he had seen, and nobody seemed to take him seriously. He had to get to the bottom of this. The police told Peter they would leave soon, and they did not find this funny. Peter broke down. Peter was forbidden to leave the office, and his boss still wanted to talk to him. He got really emotional due to all the stress that he was experiencing. Peter burst into tears. Peter was suspended. He could not work as a ranger anymore. His boss told him. Peter did feel like the world was against him. His boss and fellow rangers believed something truly horrible was happening with Peter, that he saw things due to traumatic events in his life. They then tried to get Peter to go to therapy. He had just lost his baby with his wife. That's why no one believed him. They thought this trauma was still fresh, and that he imagined a bear with his own baby. Peter P.A. told them this wasn't the case. Then he had a plan. He would figure this out all by himself. Peter was determined to find out the truth. He wasn't allowed to go into the forest anymore. His wife tried to stop him, but she knew it was futile. Peter went to the forest anyways. He just needed to do one more thing before he could go. He went over to his best friend Jacob, a fellow ranger. He was surprised to see Peter. He had heard what had happened. Peter explained the whole story to him. They had to get to the forest to rescue the baby. Jacob was skeptical. He did not want to join. Then Peter broke down. Jacob had never seen Peter in this state. He was very reluctant to go along with Peter, but he felt like he had no other option. He had to watch his friend. Jacob told Peter he would go with him. This could have been a disastrous decision. When they finally arrived at the spot Peter had seen the bear, Jacob spotted something. Jacob spotted some tracks in the distance. He was instantly intrigued by what he had found. They had indeed found black bear tracks. Jacob started to believe that Peter had at least seen the bear. He was still doubtful about the baby. Jacob shouted to Peter that he had found more tracks. After following the bear's path, Jacob suddenly lost track. Peter was looking around. He grew more desperate. This cannot be. Out of nowhere, they heard a roar. Jacob froze. It was really close. The bear had probably smelled the two men. They had to be extremely careful. Peter started walking towards the noise. Then he suddenly froze. Peter spotted the bear in the distance. Jacob was now totally convinced as well. There was no sign of the baby. Jacob tried convincing Peter to get back to the ranger's office to make sure they could help out as well. But Peter is extremely stubborn. Out of nowhere, they heard crying coming out of the cave. The bear seemed to react, and it went inside the cave. Moments later, he came out, and the crying had stopped. Peter now knew for sure that the baby was inside the cave. Then the bear turned his head towards Jacob. Jacob gets spotted by the bear. This is a really tense situation. Jacob did not know how to react. Peter tells Jacob to freeze, but Jacob is so extremely scared that he starts walking back. Then the bear reacted and started charging Jacob. Jacob now had no other option but to get away from this place as fast as possible. Jacob runs away as fast as he possibly can. He hears the bear gaining on him. The worst possible thing happens. Jacob trips. He quickly got back onto his feet and climbed into a tree. The bear tries to get Jacob out of the tree, but it seems like Jacob got to safety. This is the moment for Peter to get the baby. Peter is all by himself now. He sees a clear path to the cave. He hears Jacob screaming in the distance, but he feels like it is more important to go get the baby. He feels like Jacob is fine. He starts slowly walking towards the cave when he hears Jacob screaming that the bear is coming back. Without thinking, he starts running towards the entrance of the cave. He does not hear the bear anywhere close, so he knows he has some time to save the baby. Peter finally reaches the cave. It is really dark inside. Peter quickly grabs his phone out of his pocket to get some light. He doesn't know where to go. Then he suddenly hears some noise from deeper inside the cave. He starts walking towards it. He finally spots the baby. Peter quickly runs towards the baby, who seems unharmed at first glance. Peter is relieved and proud. He hears the bear walking around inside the cave. Peter thinks the bear realizes that the baby is gone. Then the baby suddenly starts crying. Peter tries to calm the baby, but it is too late. Peter realizes the bear has spotted him when turning on his light. He stares the bear right into his face. Peter is now backed into a corner by the bear. He is still holding the baby. The bear seems to be very careful approaching Peter. Then Peter hears more noises. Out of nowhere, the bear seems to fall asleep. Peter realizes that the bear has been shot by some sedation darts. He hears a whole lot of noises around him. Without realizing it, more rangers started running inside the cave to rescue Peter. Jacob had called them right before they went into the forest, but they weren't done yet. They still had no idea where the parents were from the baby. No missing baby had been reported by the police. The rangers took the baby to the nearest hospital with the help of the police. Peter got his apologies, but he was determined to get to the bottom of this mystery. They would soon uncover everything. The baby was checked at the hospital. They also took a DNA sample to identify the baby. After a lot of checks, it appeared that the baby was healthy. Peter had not slept for 24 hours when he finally got some news, but it was not the news he was hoping for. His wife had arrived as well and urged him to rest. Then a police captain called Peter into an office. They had determined that the bear had kept the baby safe. It was well fed, and no harm was done to the baby. They also had found out something else. The DNA results had come back. When the police captain told Peter the whole story, he burst into tears. Unfortunately, the parents of the baby had been found in the forest. They had apparently had a fatal car crash. After the crash, the bear took the baby in. They also could not find any family. Peter did not know what to see. Then he looked at his wife, and they both knew what had to be done. They eventually adopted the child and raised it to be their own. Peter and his wife had never been happier in their lives. Peter got his job back as a ranger and felt on top of the world. Eventually his son became a ranger as well, just like his dad.